Let me just set the mood without setting my hair on fire. Oh, great. That's better. Dear friend I haven't met yet, I want to be an influencer. You heard it. Sue me! You could also alternatively title this video, I want to be paid to exist too. And I think a lot of us do, and I want to talk about that today. Let's all hydrate. How about that? That's better. It really is a magical thing. Now, with the internet letting us all be more connected than we've ever been, to see these numbers rising and these people also rising to international fame. And they're making a living out of it. So if that's where I could be too, sign me up. Not to be rude, they are nothing special. Or they are just as special as any one of us. And I think the biggest difference between those who make it and those who don't is the audacity to put ourselves out there, out here, out right now, right here. It's interesting because we as artists, and I'm sure you are too if you found my video, at least some part of you identifies as a creative person or an artist. We all want to be seen so bad. That is just a general human want to be seen by other humans. And it's also terrifying. It really is. A big struggle for a lot of us, I know it was for me in the beginning, is this crippling perfectionism where we always want to make sure that it's good. But the problem is it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop at good. Because when is it ever good enough? Is it ever going to be? If you start something, whether it's a creative thing or not, you're always most likely going to suck at it, and you are allowed to suck at things. You're allowed to be bad, and you need to be in order to get better. You're not going to be able to create what you want to if you do not have the audacity to get yourself out there and suck. I think what a lot of us could do well with is commitment to ourselves. I notice for myself, I'm always more willing to commit to other people's dreams and other people's wants. And yes, it's probably the people pleaser in me. However, that's not what we're talking about today. What I noticed is that often I would struggle to commit to myself. I would have these dreams and have these desires, and I would very rarely show up and do those things. The thing with perfectionism is most of the time, it's a fear of our own potential. It's a fear of our own power. And that usually results in, for example, procrastination. You have this idea of what you want to do, but there's this other stuff that you should probably be doing instead. And then, you kind of forget about it. But there's always this little voice inside your head telling you that you should go for it. And I think you should. So if you let me be the other voice in your head, I don't know how many you have in there, but I'm now one of them. And I'm telling you to go for it because you have to. Because that's what you're here to do. And I really firmly believe that if we have these callings to do certain things, for me right now, it is to try out this idea of content creation, to really invest my time into it, do it regularly, in a way that doesn't kill me in the process. It's very important. I'm still learning balance on the way too. And I'm going to take you along for it. And I think we should all use this as a sign to recommit to ourselves. What are your dreams? In order to heal from our perfectionism, we need to take action. And we need to take action when we don't know what we're doing. Especially then. We need to take action when we're too scared to. In most cases, there is very little risk. Of course there's risk. You can always be ridiculed and you can recover. We need to work on our sense of self-trust and put ourselves in these scary situations to know that we can make it out of there, to know that we can manage and we can be proactive in our own lives. If perfectionism is really just the fear of our own potential, the fear of our own power, the fear of our own greatness, then subconsciously we already know that we're the good stuff. But we're afraid to admit it because that means, I've wasted so many years doing something that I wasn't passionate about, or I was too afraid to talk to that person and do that thing. And you cannot let that stop you. You cannot. You know now this is the life you're given and you need to keep going. If you care about yourself. If you don't, I'm not gonna tell you that you have to because it's not gonna help you anyway. That's gotta come from you. but I'm still gonna be the little voice in there telling you to go for it. There's this other idea brought up in the beginning of The Artist's Way, if you've done it, of the shadow artist, which is people who, for example, have not been nurtured enough when they were growing up in their artistic ways. It doesn't always have to be something grand as like a parent telling them your art sucks, never do it again. It can also just be a lack of support or fearful messages that were instilled. For me, for example, it was, your art is nice. I like your art. However, you're never going to make money for it and you're going to be homeless and live under a bridge. And that's about as much as you can do. So that is my big wound that I'm still dealing with. This idea that I cannot be an artist and rich, or that I can't be an artist and have money come to me effortlessly. But that does not apply to me. You have to make sure that you can be the exception to the rule. This does not have to apply to you as long as you live in alignment with who you really want to be. If this sounds like a whole bunch of woo-woo, the thing is, even if it is, you will have lived a long time doing things you loved doing. And I think that's worth it. For me personally, that's just what I weighed. Like, Delulu or possibly real, but even if it's completely delusional, I probably will still have a good time or feel better having a bad time because I would still be doing what I love doing. And the shadow artist is a person who then grows up to sort of have their artistic dreams be suppressed. However, they will, as I said, always be more willing to support other people. They will always live vicariously through other people until they themselves do the scary thing. And this idea of the shadow artist is also tied in with being a tortured artist. It's never easy. I always have to be in pain in order to create good art. There is so much gunk in our heads about what it means to be an artist that we need to let go of. And that's what I'm here to do. And I'm going to take you along with me as I learn all the things, everything that it means to be what I set out to be, which is an influencer / content creator. As I'm setting out on this journey, I am more aware of this sort of ridicule of, I don't know if it's us moving on from this idea of get a real job, because I think that was where YouTube was when I kind of got started with it. This running joke of, oh, get a real job that the YouTubers had. But I think eventually people noticed that it is a real job and that there really is a career in there. And now I think we've moved on to making fun of people who make videos. Probably a lot of that is jealousy. A lot of us want to live this sort of life where we can just be paid to exist, share our experiences with people, have that be adored and valued, and it is enough. I think all of us should be in a place where we do get paid to exist, but we're always going to be jealous of those who dare, and we're always going to try and tear those down who dare. I know that I have all these different facets of me. I want to be able to show that. I don't want to hide myself anymore, and I definitely do not want to tear myself down when I know that I have something to offer. I think I am, as many of you probably also, if you're around my age, in this interesting position where we grew up seeing YouTube flourish. We saw the rise of influencers, and the idea of this job is becoming more and more interesting to a lot of people. And it really can be anybody. It can be me, and it can be you if you want it to be. In my experience, in my late teenage years to early 20s, I was very lost. It was like right around the pandemic. That sure didn't help. And I know that to a degree, it's normal to struggle in that age to know where your life is going. Just for me, it went to the point where I thought, okay, if I cannot do what I want to do, which is art, because I was taught impossible, you will never be able to make a living, I would rather not live. And that's a big bummer. That's a big bummer. I don't think anybody should ever be pushed to that end, I was lucky enough to be able to go to therapy and heal a lot. Still got a long way to go. It's a lifelong journey after all, healing. And now I'm able to have a part-time job that sort of supports me to be able to make this dream come true. And it just made sense to me, knowing myself as a creative person, that others have done it before. I've gone through the jealousy myself, and instead of being jealous, I want to use those people as an example of, if they can do it, so can I. And I hope that as I take you along with me on this journey, that I can be an inspiration to you. Wouldn't that be lovely? We can all inspire one another to live grander, live truer, and hopefully be paid to exist. It truly is what I think everybody deserves. So yes, sue me. I want to be an influencer. I hope you enjoyed this little ramble. I turned it into a Substack post that you can read here. I post weekly on there. I rip right out of my journal pages and smack into Substack for you to read whatever is going on in my brain. Sometimes I share more tethered life experiences like this one. Sometimes I share poems. There may even be hidden song demos on there. So if it sounds lovely to you to join me as I grow and learn to create content and put myself out there, consider subscribing, like, comment. Where are you on your creative journey? How have you healed? What do you still need to heal? Have you ever considered being an influencer, and what has stopped you? Let me know. Thank you. Bye.